Hello everybody, this is English for You, and a very warm welcome to the studio. I have my Fazekas students, seasoned veterans, old hands in the show business. Fazekas, Kata, how are you doing, Kata?
Fine.
Szabolcs?
Fine, thanks.
Okay, Victoria, how are you doing?
Fine, thanks.
Victor, what's up?
Nothing.
Everything's fine. Evika and Matyi.
Hi, Victor.
Oh, Matyi, do you like today's topic, which is sightseeing?
Yeah, it's absolutely. I like it absolutely.
Fine, thank you very much. And we have Charlotte. Would you please help me with your family name?
It's Hoogakker.
Say it again, please.
Hoogakker.
Okay, so we have Charlotte here. I'm not going to tell you where she's from because it's going to be a sort of task for you to find out. How long have you been here in Hungary and what have you been doing?
I've been here now for 3 weeks, and I'm on an internship in the MTV, so with the television.
Right, and you like Budapest?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to check on this.
Yeah.
Check on this. And today's special guest is Mr. Csillag Peter, and there's a little tale to tell. We used to attend the same school, and it's just to check on your memory. Do you still remember the name of the school?
Hardly, but I do.
Okay, would you please?
Arany János.
Általános iskola.
12 évfolyamos általános iskola és gimnázium.
Right, so we've been friends for a couple of years. Let's not count how many years. But he's not here today to remember the good old days. He knows Budapest like the back of his hand. So he's going to help us discover Budapest. And if you look at the projector, you can see a wonderful map. And this part, the castle, is part of the World Heritage. Matyi, do you know what it means, the World Heritage in Hungarian?
Yeah, I know. Világörökség.
One big red point.
Thank you very much.
The World Heritage. But I can also see a couple of black lines and red lines. So let me turn to you, Peter, and would you help us describe what it is?
Well, Black Lines is really the route of an evening sightseeing cruise, which is called Danube Legend in English. And I think we are going to have it in the program. It's really an hour cruise showing the nicest monuments of the both banks from the river, which is the main street of the city. With the help of film, we bring our visitors behind the walls. So when they are when they see the monuments alive, illuminated, with the film we show the buildings from inside. And the Danube is speaking. He is the narrator and gives a word to the famous personalities.
Thank you very much. So we're going to see this video, I mean parts of this video, the same video that the visitors can see. Right. Oh, by the way, I'm very lucky because I live right here in Víziváros, about 200 meters from the river Danube, and it's a wonderful neighborhood because if I want to take a walk, it takes me 5 minutes to walk up to Castle Hill. It takes 10 minutes to go to Margaret Island, Margit-sziget. And if I want to go downtown or the center of the city, I just take the metro. The only problem is that my neighborhood is a little bit noisy and the air is a little bit polluted. And my Skoda was stolen, my 13-year-old Skoda was stolen in December. So much about the neighborhood, okay? What about your neighborhood? And I asked my students to bring in a couple of photographs. And if you remember your picture, would you just put up your hand? Fire off, please, Victoria.
It's in the 8th district, which is not really nice, but it's a better part of it. It's called the Colony of Officers.
In Hungarian?
Tisztviselőtelep.
Good.
And there are detached houses with nice gardens and blocks of flats, as you can see in the picture. And it's really nice because there are a lot of green patches around and it's very peaceful. There's not much traffic. So I like living there.
Is there a disadvantage?
Well, sure. It's
What
in
is
the
it?
8th district, and sometimes I don't like the people who go there, but the neighborhood is nice itself.
Okay, so sometimes it's dangerous. I mean, the whole 8th district, but not this
Yes.
part.
No.
Thank you very much. Could we have the second picture, please? Right. Oh, Szabolcs, please. So,
I live in the southern suburbs of Budapest in the 18th district. It's Pest-Szent-Lőrinc. It's a relatively quiet and peaceful district. The traffic is also not too big. In the small streets there are basically detached houses with gardens. You can find forest nearby, and behind it there's the airport. And we can see the planes landing above our houses.
Oh, really? So it's a little bit noisy, isn't it?
Yes, on the other hand, it's very noisy, but I like very much this district because I can always go out to the squares or visit my friends in the neighborhood.
So you live in the suburbs?
Yes.
In the suburbs. Very good. Can we... Is your house somewhere here?
Yes, it's on the...
This one?
This
Oh, what a wonderful... It's a huge house, by the way. Very nice. Okay, and now I'm turning to Charlotte. And now this is the time for you to find out where she's from. Listen to her accent, number one. Number two... Oh, yes, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Number two, she's going to introduce her hometown with the help of 3 pictures. And then I'm going to turn to you, asking Matyi, Evik, and the others where you think she's from. Okay, so Charlotte, please.
This is the road I always cycle when I go to school. And this is taken from above a very old church. And there you can see the canals. And that's where I always cycle. And there are loads of shops there. And the buildings are all very narrow and very high, because they're living a lot of people, so it's not like Budapest where everything's big and it's everything is quite small. And the next picture.
Could we have the next picture, please?
This is even a more bigger view from the old church. But what's funny is, if you can see it here on the left, this is a very big wheel, and you can get in there with your car. So you can go in with your car and then you go round and see everything. And it's especially made for a museum that was closed for 1.5 years because it was redecorated. And this was one of their shows outside.
Right, the next picture, please.
And this is the dome itself. It is built in the 14th century and it's 122 meters high. And you see the canals, and this is very good because this is downstairs, and there are lots of restaurants in the cellars downstairs. It's a very nice city, and now it's nice and green.
Thank you very much. How high is the tower?
122 meters high.
And what would you say the style is?
Gothic.
Gothic. Guesses. First, you can guess the country. Victoria.
From the Netherlands, maybe?
Matyi, what do you think?
I think
Yes, congratulations. Absolutely wonderful. It's the Netherlands. You're very, very clever. And can you guess the city or the town?
maybe Amsterdam.
Very good idea. No. It could be Amsterdam, but no. It's smaller than Amsterdam.
Utrecht.
Say it again.
Utrecht.
Very clever guy, I can't believe that. Yeah. Would you say the name of your hometown in beautiful Dutch?
Utrecht.
Say it again.
Utrecht.
In English?
Utrecht.
Okay. In Hungarian?
Utrecht.
Utrecht. Either Utrecht or Utrecht, it's up to you. Right. Thank you very much. It was very nice. I've enjoyed it immensely. Now, the situation is the following. You have a couple of guests from abroad, and you have one day to show them around Budapest. Where would you start? Kata.
I think I would start from the castle, because from there you can see the Danube and the whole city, and it's a beautiful view. And there's another thing, that there are a lot of things to see, and when they are tired, I think they wouldn't like to go round and round.
Right, so you would take them up Castle Hill, for example, Fisherman's Bastion, and from there they can have a wonderful view. Victor, where would you start?
I think I would start at the Parliament, because you can find the Holy Crown there, and I think that is the most characteristic attribute of Hungary or our country.
So you would start with a little bit of history.
Yeah.
Very good idea. Very good idea. Now we are going to have our first picture, and I'm going to turn to you, Charlotte, whether you can recognize this building, whether you know where this building is. Here we go.
Oh, is it the one near the Elizabeth Bridge?
Fantastic. That's exactly. Do you happen to know the name of this church?
St. Anne's.
Say it again.
St. Anne's.
Matyi is saying no. What do you think, Matyi?
It's belvárosi plébánia.
Okay, maybe inner city church, but we're gonna find out, because now we're gonna listen to the first bit from this cassette, and you're gonna meet an ancient ruin, part of a building that has left after the rest has been damaged. So the part of the building that is left, and it's going to be your task, group 1, to try and find out everything about a ruin, and group 2, your task is going to be to find out everything about the church itself. So please, would you roll the tape?
Contra Quincum helped to defend the Roman Empire against the barbarians. We loyally guarded the civilized world till the tornado of Attila's Hunnish horde swept it away. The red bricks of the university now look down on ancient stones, and past and future meet in timelessness. The most ancient church of Pest now stands at the cradle of the city. In keeping with the relentless process of history, the Roman stones, deprived of their purpose, were used to honor the center of a new world. Our Lady of Hungary, the Blessed and Ever Virgin Mary.
Thank you very much. So, Kata, everything about the ruin.
Only the walls are left, and there is a university next to it.
Right, Szabolcs, could you add anything to it?
There was a beautiful expression, the future meets the timelessness.
Yes, and it's a very ancient ruin from
Roman
Okay.
times?
Say it again.
Roman times.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And everything about the church. Victoria, please.
It's the most ancient church of Budapest, and it was built of Roman stones, and for a new purpose, to worship Our Lady of Hungary, the Ever-Blessed Virgin.
Yeah, the Ever Virgin Mary. And what is the name of the church?
The central city.
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's, right? Peter, why would you start the tour at this point? Because he suggested me that we should start here. Not Castle Hill, not the Parliament, but here. Why?
The other ideas aren't bad at all, but we have taken this point for first because this is the cradle of the city, and the ruins, they really mean the beginning. For about 2 millenniums ago, the Romans have found here the first real important settlement, Aquincum. And I would say, like today, it's always a meeting point of East and West here in the geographical center of Europe. And the Danube was that time the border of the Roman Empire. Contra Aquincum, on the other side of the Danube, was to protect the river itself, the border itself, and the settlement on the other side. And the church, it means the continuity, because for about 1,000 years almost, there's a church serving there under the name of Virgin Mary.
Yes, and if you look at this wonderful... Could we have the picture back? Because there was a wonderful altar, a wonderful painting. Why was that painting, or why is this painting so special to you?
It's a very special painting for me, because it was painted by my grandfather. I had my wedding in front of this altar, and maybe it's interesting to see the structure of a triptych. The main board is the Assumption. That's the scenery of the Assumption of the Holy Virgin. That's the title, really, of the church. And on the side wings, on the wings, on the side pictures, you can see sceneries of her life. But at the Eastern time, the wings are closed, and there's a new scenery appearing, and this is about the Passion and the Crucifixion of Jesus Christ.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we're going to see another wonderful building, and I'm going to turn to you again, and it's your task to guess what this building is.
Oops. I don't know.
Thank you very much. And my students, if you recognize this building, would you put up your hand? Mochi.
University of Economics.
The second red point for you. Absolutely wonderful. The University of Economics. Why did you choose this picture?
There are so many interesting buildings in the city, and if we ask them about their story, about their history, they're giving so interesting answers. This building was standing almost at the frontier of the city, and it was the customs house. Down there at the river, that was the port, the harbor, and the customs house was quite attached. That's why the main market hall is also quite close behind it. And the other reason why we have taken this picture for the next is because this building was really one of the nicest work of Miklós Ebel.
We're going to have his picture pretty soon on the projector. And why is Ebel Miklós so famous and important for us Hungarians?
He was his very fine classical neo-Renaissance style, I would say, determined the image of the city we can still enjoy today, because his period, his active period, was the period of the real development when the metropole was born in the last third of 19th century. And some beautiful works he left behind, like the Customs House, which has been the model for the aristocratic palaces on the aristocratic avenue, the Andrássy Street, and like the opera there, the famous opera house, but he was working also in the Royal Palace or in the St. Stephen Basilica as well.
Thank you very much. And our next picture could be, so could we have the next picture, please? And we are going to travel, we are going to move on from this point to, I believe it's going to be, yes, Charlotte, and I think this is easier.
You think so?
Yeah. Not that easy?
No.
Okay, my students? Oh, come on. Yes.
I think it's the Hotel Gellért.
Absolutely right. And this is a spa hotel. Spa is a spring of mineral water that people believe makes you healthy. So it's a spa hotel. And it's right at the foot of Szabadság híd, the Buddha side. And you're going to have two questions to answer. Group one, the history of this spa hotel. And group two, a lot of famous people went there. Could you just catch 5 famous people who spent a couple of days in Hotel Gellért? So would you roll the tape, please?
Hotel Gellért, the site where in the 12th century the St. John Hospitallers did their work of healing and later Turkish virgins performed their ablutions, is that of a spa hotel since early this century. And what visitors I've seen who stay there. Princes, potentates, Maharajas. Queen Juliana of the Netherlands spent her honeymoon there. Just turn the pages of the hotel register. Elizabeth Schwarzkopf, Giuseppe Di Stefano, Yehudi Menuhin, Sviatoslav Richter, Arthur Rubinstein, Arthur Miller, George Mikes, Vittoria Gassman, Anthony Quinn, Marina Vladi, Richard Nixon, Bruno Kreisky, Perez de Cuellar, Peggy Rockefeller, and the King of Nepal.
Thank you very much. So someone from the Netherlands, Queen Juliana in Dutch. Okay, so the history. Could you catch anything about the history, Szabolcs?
Yes, it was an old spa hotel, and it's very famous for centuries. In this century, it was a very famous hotel, lots of famous persons.
Yeah, and the history started in the 12th century, and then the Turkish times, there was something there, and the beginning of the 20th century, not this century, but the 20th century, the spa hotel was built. 5 names. Victor?
Queen Juliana of Netherlands, and Arthur Miller, George Mikes, Nixon, and the King of Nepal.
Thank you very much. Could you add 1 or 2?
Yehudi Menuhin.
Yeah, Yehudi Menuhin, the famous violinist. Thank you very much. Now, we're going to move on a little, and another famous building which is very, very difficult to recognize. So anybody who can recognize it, would you put up your hand? That's what I expected. This is the University of Technology, and your task is going to be to listen to 4 very famous inventions and 4 very famous inventors. So would you roll the tape, please? Right.
Think of the mighty modular inventors and raise your heads high. Tivadar Pushkash to start with. A letter by Thomas Edison bears witness to the fact that Pushkash first thought of the telephone exchange. Gons engineers invented the transformer, an electrometer which made it possible for electricity to reach every home. David Schwartz, a Hungarian who once dealt in timber, invented dirigible airships. He did not live to see the first one take off in Berlin, but Count Zeppelin was there, bought up everything from Schwartz's widow, and that is why dirigibles are called Zeppelins and not Schwartzes. Janos Csonka once watched a flower girl using a vaporizer to refresh her flowers. That gave him the idea for the new carburetor.
Right. Would you put up your hand if you could catch 4 inventions? Szabolcs, please.
Yes, there was the telephone exchange by Puskás, the transformer by Gons, plans for airships, it's by Schwartz, it was a Hungarian inventor, and the carburetor by Janos Csonka.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Could you come up with a good Hungarian word for carburetor?
Karburátor.
Porlasztó. Yes, thank you very much. And the next building is going to be a fantastic building. It was called by one of the famous architects a crystallized csardás. I wonder if you can recognize this building, or anybody. Yes, Victoria,
It's the
please.
redőd of.
Say it again.
The redőd of.
In Hungarian?
Vigadó.
Vigadó. And Peter, if I may turn to you, why did you choose this building to show this to the
We
kids?
have seen now a couple of buildings. Like recently we have seen a spa hotel. Budapest is a spa city, but it has many, many faces. It's a city where famous inventors originate from, and it's a city of culture, I would say. And this building is a sanctuary of music, which is all of the world well known by Liszt, Kodály, Bartók, who gave very famous recitals here, but also famous foreign musicians like Wagner, Strauss, were guests here on the stage of Vigadó. And that's what I want to show always for my guests, how many sides, how many faces this city, this exciting city has.
Thank you very much. And if I can have the map, I could show where the Vigadó is exactly, so that you can go and have a nice look at it one day. So we're going to have the map pretty soon. I hope.
This is the square.
Right.
You can
and
where you can come down to the boat
here's the
station.
Vigadó building, right? And now we're going to see another fantastic site. And I'm going to have a couple of questions in connection with this. I'm absolutely sure that you recognize this.
No, this is the Parliament.
Congratulations. And a couple of questions with the Parliament. Group 1, what is the heating and ventilation like in the Parliament building? Because it's quite a huge building. It's very difficult to keep it warm. And Group 2, how many turrets, small towers, how many turrets are there, and also how high the dome is? Okay, so would you roll the tape, please?
The central heating and ventilation system has ever since been widely admired. In winter, preheated fresh air flows in unnoticed through the railings of the walls and is removed by suction working through the chandeliers. The temperature is kept at 20 degrees summer and winter, and that best suits the work of the building. The building is lent charm by 365 turrets. The dome is 96 meters high, a symbol of the 1000th anniversary of Hungarian settlement in 1896.
Right. So what about the ventilation and heating? Kata?
Well, in winter, preheated fresh air flows in, and the temperature is always kept in 20 degrees.
Summer or winter? Yes, thank you very much. And how about the turrets? How many turrets, little small towers
There
are there?
are 365 turrets.
Yes, and how high is the dome?
96 meters.
Why exactly 96 meters?
I think because it was in 1896.
Victoria, please.
It was an anniversary of the Hungarian settlement.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay, if I may turn to you, I mean, it's obvious that you love this city. Now, let me ask you these two questions. Are you a nationalist or a patriot? A patriot is someone who loves their country. A nationalist is someone who loves their country, but they think that their country is better than any other country in the world. So what are you?
I hope I'm a patriot.
You are a patriot, a true patriot. Okay, good. You have a good word for this patriot, Matyi?
Patriota.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay, now we've been talking about Budapest, but I think Hungary is a lot more than just Budapest. So are there any interesting tours across the country
yes,
you could mention?
Yes, so I think a city like Budapest, with its 2 million inhabitants, speaks for itself. But if you want to know the country, you have to go to the smallest village, and you will have more impression about the country in the smallest village. So it's a must to go to the countryside if someone wants to meet with Hungary. And there are beautiful places, either if you go up to the northeastern hills, like Eger, and further on to Tokaj, Sarospatak region, beautiful and very exciting places, not only because of the wine, but of the sceneries and traditions as well. And if you go down to southeast, for example, this is the Alföld, the Puszta, and these area, not speaking about the western regions.
Thank you very much, Peter. I hope it's been a nice appetizer for you to go to Vigadó and have a nice look at it. And now comes the words. Világörökség, Évike.
World Heritage.
Wonderful. The next word is going to be... Can you read? Mm-hmm. Okay, say it.
Környék.
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 Neighborhood.
Neighborhood. Okay. Now comes Rom, Évike.
Ruin.
Ruin, excellent. And gyógyfürdő.
Spa.
Good. And now comes Tornyocska.
Turret.
Turret. And the last one is going to be Hazafi.
It's me.
Patriot. Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much, Charlotte, for coming along. And guys, see you next week. It's going to be English for you again.